How's everybody doing on this Wednesday? My goodness, Sarah, we're at the halfway point in the month of September.
Yes, and did you see the beautiful fog this morning?
I did. I looked up
Love
at the tower. I always check, just glance up at the tower to go, where'd the tower go to?
I love it. Sign of fall coming.
Yes, yeah. And then I realized, oh, we've got fog this morning. So there you go.
Yep. So I'm enjoying the cooler weather.
Yes, me too. Sarah Webb's with us. She's our animal control officer. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Sure.
So,
what are we going to be talking about today?
I thought I would brush over the unlawful restraint of a dog. It's
Perfect.
a state law. Since you did kind of brush up on that last time, you had asked me a question about it. So I thought I'd go into more detail on that.
Okay.
And I figured I'd go over some city ordinances on your livestock animals inside the city limits, because I do have a lot of people that ask questions about whether or not they can have livestock or chickens or whatever. So thought I'd go over those.
Goats or sheep.
Goats. Yes, goats and sheep, and so thought I'd touch up on those and let everybody know what the laws are on
Wonderful.
those.
All right.
So unlawful restraint of a dog is, it's pretty simplified. Everybody pretty much knows what restraint means. It's a chain, rope, teeth, or leash, or cable device that attaches to a dog to a stationary object or a trolley system.
Right.
Between the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I had stated this last 2 weeks ago, a dog cannot be left out and unattended by a restraint that unreasonably limits its movement between those times. You can't have it out on tied out within 500 feet of the premises of a school.
Okay.
So if you live near the school, you can't be tying your dog out. In the case of extreme weather, like if we're
Is this any school property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, any school property.
Okay.
And then extreme weather conditions. We have a lot of heat advisories where we're at. So your dog cannot be left outside on a chain tied out.
Okay.
If it gets below freezing, your dog cannot be left out tied. And then you got your severe storms, hurricanes, tropical storm. A tornado warning has been issued. You need to release your dog off the chain. They have a right to seek shelter, seek safety. So,
or in West Texas, a good old West Texas thunderstorms that's been cloud seeded by the cloud seeders in San Angelo. My goodness, I tell you, the thunderstorms can get intense when they're doing cloud seeding.
Yes, yes. And Melissa from Sonora PD wanted to say hello to you this morning.
All right. Hi, Melissa. and Terry Johnson wants to say hi to you and come by the store when you're finished. So.
Okay. All right. So basically, use of a collar that is a pinch type, prong type, or choke type is not that, or that is not properly fitted for a dog is unreasonable restraint as well. And I want to say there's a link. It's on the back side.
Okay.
Darn double-sided printing. I'm like, something's missing here.
I do that all the time. I double-side print to save paper, and then I forget to turn the paper over.
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be a long Wednesday. So the length of a tie-out is specific. It needs to be 5 times the length of the dog, measured from the tip of the dog's nose to the base of the dog's tail, or 10 feet. And I think it's whichever is the greater of the two needs to be used. And it needs to be in a safe condition where you're tying your dog out. No debris. We had discussed a lot of debris is something that I look for. You need to clean up your yards. It can't cause injury to the dog when you tie it out. There are exceptions that don't apply. A dog restrained to a running line, a pulley, or a trolley system that's not restrained to a running line, pulley, or trolley system by the means of a pinch type, prong type, choke type, or improperly fitted collar. So if you have a properly fitted collar that doesn't, that isn't one of those, just a regular collar, and you've got your dog on a running line, pulley, or a trolley system, they can be out there. This law doesn't pertain to those because they can freely move.
Okay.
Freely protect themselves from anything that might attack in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Let me see here. If you're camping, your dogs can be tied out if you're camping.
Okay.
And a dog restrained for a reasonable period, not to exceed 3 hours in a 24-hour period, and no longer than the necessary that is necessary for an owner to complete a temporary task that requires the dog to be restrained. Say you want to clean your house, you don't want your dog inside. You can leave your dog tied out for those 3 hours while you clean your house during that 24-hour period. It's very specific, but it gives you that time to where you don't have your dog in there in the way. A dog restrained while the owner is in or actively training for an activity that is conducted pursuant to avoid a license issued by the state. I'm not sure what that's, I guess if you were having some kind of training at your house, I'm not sure. But if you're doing farming, you've got shepherd dogs or whatever, herding livestock, cattle, your dog, when you need to restrain your animal, you're allowed to do so as well. So I'm pretty sure that first one is what that other one was, talking about, the people in farming and ranching and stuff like that. If you have an animal and you're cultivating agriculture products, you can tie your dog out to protect them. You don't want your dog to get tangled up in your machinery.
Sure.
So, you're allowed to. That's exempt from the tie-out laws as well. Penalty. If you violate this subchapter, a peace officer or an animal control who has probable cause to believe that an owner is violating this subchapter can provide the owner with a written statement. So I can actually give people this law, and I usually just verbally tell people what the laws are, and I give them about 24 hours to correct the problem. I dealt with one last week, and they did an excellent job on fixing the situation. Cute dog, so I think it's going to be fine. We ask that you put up a pen for your animals to keep them in. You can buy a dog house, make a dog house. It just needs to have 3 sides.
I was just going to ask you about that. If you have a dog house that's in a shaded area, then you're probably okay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
As long as the dog has plenty of room to maneuver around. Okay.
Correct. You don't want him eating and using the bathroom in the same area. I mean, you want him to have some room there.
Sure.
To separate.
Sure. Okay. Good.
I wouldn't want to eat my bowl of cereal in the bathroom.
There's just something wrong about that.
Yeah. So I mean, you need to think about that when you're making an area for your animals. Make sure that they have an area that's going to be for them to go to the bathroom, and an area for them to eat and drink their water, so where their water stays clean. If the problem is not corrected within the allotted time of the 24 hours. This same subchapter is what we use to get a seizure warrant. Okay. So if somebody is not, it's the animal cruelty laws, actually, the 821 subchapter for the Texas Health and Safety Code. So if you don't fix the situation when I've been, kind enough to give you so many hours to fix it, then we can actually go back, talk to a judge. I'll have plenty of pictures of the situation. And I could get a seizure warrant depending on the situation. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and then you can remove the dog, right?
Exactly. I come in, I take the dog, and then you're left without a dog, and you actually have to go to court, and you have to have that situation fixed, resolved, and then the judge decides whether or not you can have your animal back. Okay. And you might have fines to pay.
In our case, would they see Jerry Kemp?
Yes, they will.
Okay. Very good.
You with the names. I'm bad. So, yes, they would go down to City Hall to see Jerry Kemp.
Okay.
So, yes. So, you know, it's just, I try to be lenient with everybody, and just, you know, knowledge is key. So I like to kind of educate everybody, knock on your door and let you know, hey, this is illegal. It's considered cruel. You know, fix the situation. You know, do better, and then you won't have me knocking on your door.
Are you finding that on the majority of the cases that the homeowner gets the problem corrected and then we move forward?
Yes, I am. It's just a lack of knowledge where they didn't know.
That's what I was
you know,
wondering.
so that's why I've been coming on here and just discussing these
that's
laws,
wonderful.
because
Yeah.
you know, people just don't realize that there's so many laws to keeping a pet. You know, there's a lot of things that you know, that I have to know and have to keep it all straight, and some of it gets jumbled in there.
Yeah.
So, and I have you know, I did write down the PD police number just in case you asked me who it is.
And I would ask you.
Because, man, I repeatedly gave out that number so wrong. It was just area code and last 4 digits.
Yeah?
Yeah, I repeatedly, I like counted about 5 times like 2 weeks ago. I was like, really, Sarah? Really? Darn cell phones. I don't have to memorize phone numbers anymore.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go to your what do they call that, contacts, and
Yeah, I just click on a name.
Yeah.
And it just dials it for me.
And the cell phone does all the work.
It does. So, yeah, I felt really, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, so I wrote it down before walking up in here today.
Good.
So,
All right.
So, another thing I wanted to talk about was livestock and other animals that are in city limits. You know, it's not permitted unless you first file for a permit.
Okay.
You can get a ticket if I find you have a livestock animal and you haven't filed.
How do you get a permit?
Come see me.
Okay.
Come see me at the police department. If I'm not in, Melissa, she knows where I keep those permits, and she will get you one. And
okay. Is there a cost for the permit?
Okay, so there's a method to the permit.
Okay.
You need to fill out your permit,
okay.
and on the permit it actually tells you have to draw out a picture of the property in proximity.
We had to do that in Junction.
Yeah. In proximity to the neighboring properties, any buildings need to be drawn out. If those buildings have 4 walls and a door, well, it's considered a building, and if it's within 50 feet from the property, then I can tell you it's not permitted. At this time, any building that could be obtained by a person that's within 50 feet from the property where you want to keep your animals, it's not allowed. So that's almost everywhere in the city.
Yeah, in Junction, the AM radio station, KMBL, is located on one city block, enough room for the AM tower. Wow. And we found that putting goats in there, excellent in weed control. And so we got a permit, and the animal control officer comes by periodically and checks on things, and the goats are happy as they can be.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You should probably get some goats out here. You're out in county, too.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed your grass gets a little high.
It does. Yeah, it got taller than me the other day. So,
yeah. Put you a little guard out there,
yeah.
You know, just to roll in and out of, so where you don't have to worry about a gate. You're good to go. You know, get you some goats. They're great lawnmowers.
Yep, they are. We found that out.
But,
nature's lawnmower.
Right. So, yes, you actually need to apply for your permit before you bring your animal into city limits.
Okay.
When you fill out your permit and you're finished, it has to come back to me before you go to City Hall, because I have to come out then and take measurements of everything, and then I sign it whether it's approved or denied. And then my boss, chief of police,
Yeah.
Art Fuentes,
That's right.
would sign off on it. Then you're going to take it to City Hall, and you'll pay $50. I think it's $50 per animal, or it might be more than that. I know most of ours are 4-H, and 4-H pays different. Because of the kids and stuff like that.
My recollection is in Junction, it was like a window. So this much to this much is this much, and if you have this many to this many animals, it's this much. And,
right. We have units. 400 square feet area shall be a unit. You can have either 4 sheep, 4 goats, 1 horse, 1 cow, 1 mule, or 1 donkey per unit, and that unit is 400 feet,
Right.
or 400 square feet.
Right.
So, yeah, we do have all that. It is totally prohibited to have any kind of pig, swine.
Okay.
That's totally prohibited. You
That makes sense.
don't even bother trying to apply for it, because it's
Not going to be approved, right?
it's automatic not
Okay,
approved for
okay.
swine.
Okay.
So, chickens, man, they're it's chickens are a lot. You know, they can't be on the ground, and I think that's because I know inside their feces that you can actually get sick. So you actually have to have a floor, and it should be unlawful for any person to keep any rabbits or fowl within any structure in the city without scraping the floor of the structure,
Okay.
and thoroughly cleaning the area every 48 hours.
Okay.
And the interior of the structure where the rabbits or fowl are kept has to be disinfected at least once a month from fleas, mites, insects, you know, it's to discourage all that, flies. You know, you have to dispose of the feces properly. You can't just pile it in a pile on your yard. You know, it's disgusting, and it would attract a lot of things, unwanted things. So it's very hard to deal with rabbits and chickens inside the city limits, because it's, you know, a lot of cleaning, a lot of upkeep that is required in order to have those. And then again, they have to be within 50 feet of a building that can be obtained by a person. So if you have a shed, or your neighbor has a shed and you wanted to put it, you know, if it's within that 50 feet, you're going to get denied.
Okay.
Let me see here. I'm trying to like skim here. I think I pretty much covered the.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's you know, permits for poisonous or wild animals. It should be unlawful for any person to keep poisonous or wild animals within the city limits without first obtaining an actual permit, an annual permit. And then, of course, your premises have to be inspected, where your poisonous or wild animal will be kept. It can't be allowed to escape, pretty much. You know, it has to be pretty secure area. For any of the reasons, if we feel it's not secure enough, you can be denied your permit. I don't have anybody that has any venomous snakes, poisonous.
I was wondering if that's what that meant. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, of course, venom and poison, two different things. But you know, I don't have anybody that has any of that, or hasn't came and got a permit. You know, so there's that, and slaughterhouses are exempt from these requirements. You know, if we had a slaughterhouse still that brought in live animals and they were in the city limits, they would be allowed to have those animals there, of course, where they can continue their work.
What about our 4-H area here that our kiddos use?
That is county.
That is county. Okay.
That
I
is
was
county.
pretty sure that it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
on the Powers, actually, the backside of the Powers ranch.
Yes, it is.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that is considered county.
And thanks to the Powers for doing that.
Yes, yes.
So these kiddos can have their project.
Right, right. So that's pretty much all I have is,
Okay.
you know, I was just doing a brush over real fast. You know, you need to come see me first before you bring any livestock, whether it's chickens,
Okay.
bunny rabbits. I know you cannot have a wild jackrabbit. That is a state thing. I think they're protected. So, yeah, you can't have wild bunnies, period.
Okay.
But any animals that you're going to be bringing into the city, or you want to check and see if you can bring into the city, you need to come see me first. And of course, it doesn't cost you anything to get the application.
Sure.
Fill out the application, have me come out and inspect it.
And you just go to City Hall and get the application, right?
No, come to the police department.
police
We
department.
have
Okay,
we have the application at the police department.
Okay, got it.
For you to fill out. But yeah, that doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay anything unless you are actually approved for your livestock, so you're not out of any money.
Okay.
So that's
okay. Let's
the
talk
process.
about. Let's go back to the chained animals, the chained dogs.
Yes.
If somebody wonders if they're compliant, can they give you a call and have you come by and
Yes.
and tell them if they're in compliance
Yeah, sure
or
can.
make recommendations? Okay.
Sure can. We can actually measure their lead if they're not sure,
Okay.
to their dog, to see if it meets the requirements
Okay.
of the 5 times the length of the dog. I mean, we can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
we can do all that.
what's the phone number?
It is 325-387-3888.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah,
3888.
just those
Yeah.
pesky middle numbers there.
I still wish we had it like it was when I was a kid. All you dialed was just the last 4 numbers.
Yeah.
And then they made us start dialing the 387. And boy, did this town complain.
I'd have it made. I'd have it made if it was just 4 digits.
Yeah. This was back in the days of the rotary phone,
Yeah.
And yeah, you
Yeah.
just dial 4 digits and hey, whoever you want, as long as it was in the city.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so,
that would make my
yeah.
make my life a lot easier.
Oh,
We
I
could
mean,
just
there
do
was
the 4
complaining all
numbers.
over the place when we had to start dialing the 387. So. All right, visiting
Yes.
with Sarah Webb. Sarah is our animal control officer. You wear several hats.
I do. I do.
But anyway, appreciate you coming out and being
Not a
with us.
problem. I actually met with the commissioners yesterday, because I am the local rabies control authority for the
yes.
whole county. So I met with them yesterday. So and went over pretty much what we discussed 2 weeks prior.
Okay.
So they now know that there is the restraints. You got to keep your animal on your property, whether you're in city limits or
Sure.
out in county. So
Sure.
yeah, we went over that yesterday, Commissioner's
Okay.
Court.
All
So.
right, wonderful. Well, thank you, Sarah.
Well, thank you for having me.
And you said that your twin brother is recording this, right?
He is.
What's
he
his
is.
name?
Wesley Odell.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. Appreciate you listening. And he's listening online, right?
He is. He
Okay.
is. He's streaming us. And
Where's he located?
He's located up in Wichita Falls.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, he's a long ways away, about 6 hours.
Okay. Well, I keep waiting for somebody in the space station to log on. That's
Oh,
my
really?
that's my goal now. One of these days, maybe we'll have a Bronco or a
Donna's-
Lady Bronco
you got Donna
up
laughing.
there. Yeah. and we'll have somebody log on from the space station.
That would be pretty neat. You'll have to.
I'm like, okay, I can go to my grave satisfied now.
Right. Tell him. Maybe his name will be Scotty. You could say, "Beam me up."
Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Maybe so.
That would be perfect.
All right. Sarah, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you
being
for
with
having
us.
me.
And you're all around town. If somebody just wants to flag you down, they can certainly do that, right?
I get flagged down quite often. Just don't
yeah.
chase me, because I drive circles all day long,
Yeah.
all over the neighborhoods. So just don't follow me, because you'll never catch me.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
flash your lights, because then I think it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And that gets me all hyped up and everything like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and if they call me, if they call the PD and they say, hey, animal control just drove by, I need her to come back, and they'll give me that message.
They can reach you, right?
Yes.
And
Mel
when you
can
call
reach-
the PD, is it Melissa that you talk to?
It is our
Okay.
lovely Melissa, unless she's busy, and then
Yeah.
one of the officers
Okay.
might actually answer, or sometimes she has to transfer calls over, and our calls will go to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And so you should know. I mean, sheriff's office answers the phone. Sheriff's office, and then Mel answers the phone with Sonora PD, or Sonora Police Department. So I mean, you'd know which office.
One more. I got this question during the week, and I wanted to ask you about it before you leave.
Okay.
What happens after hours? If we got an animal problem after hours, you just call the...
You can still call the 325-387-3888.
It'll automatically go to the sheriff's
It
department, right?
automatically goes to the sheriff's department, and then they call me
Okay.
and send me out. Well, I just actually Monday I got a phone call, and it was the coolest call. I've never had it before. A skunk was on somebody's porch.
Okay, that's exactly where I was in.
We had a little bit of an overcast
Yeah.
for a while there, and he was a young skunk, so I think he kind of got confused,
Yeah.
and then realized, ooh, it's still pretty bright out here.
Yeah.
So he curled up on their porch,
Okay.
and so I was
Because they're
dispatched.
nocturnal animals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was dispatched over there, and as I was walking up, I was like, is he dead? And she opens up her door because she had it kind of cracked, but she's got a glass door in between there. And she's like, no. And I was like, oh, because he popped his head up like, everybody be quiet. I'm trying to sleep here, you know? And I was like, backed up. I backed up real slow, like, oh, he's alive. And he laid his head back down, and I was like, I'm going to go get a trap. I'll be right back, you know? And I ran back over to my truck, and I grabbed me a trap, put some cat food in there. And I have these really cool covers. They're plastic covers that actually fit perfect over my traps, so I can catch skunks or anything that might harm somebody or whatnot. It protects them. Nocturnal, you know, like to go into something dark. And I walked back over there real quiet, and I got on the side of the house for the, you know, to protect myself, and I just slid that trap on in, and he smelled that cat food in there, and he popped his little nose up and was sniffing the air, walked right on in, and I just heard him smacking away on that food. And I was like, oh, you know, I was like so grateful.
Solved.
And then I started walking back to my truck, and he didn't even trigger my darn trap. It was still open.
Oh, my goodness.
So I had to reach in and trigger the trap. I was like, oh, my gosh. I could have been walking, and the skunk could have just jumped right on out. But he was adolescent, very young. I took him and released him up at Eaton Hill.
I was just going to ask. That's wonderful.
Yeah, since he was eating, and he had realized, okay, I'm not supposed to be awake, and he had gone back to sleep.
That's wonderful. We have that refuge up there at Eaton Hill.
Yes,
Just for that reason.
But boy, he was grunting away like, hurry up, lady, because he didn't. He turned his butt to me one time, and I set the trap back down like, I'm not going to let you out, buddy, if you're going to spray me. And so he turned back around, but every time I was trying to get that latch to open my trap, he was just grunting away at me, and I was like, give me a minute, I'm trying. So, but I did. I managed to get it open, and he just went on his way.
And away he went.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, been visiting with Sarah Webb. If you need anything, what is the phone number again?
It is 325-387-3888.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. We will be back in a minute. We're going to talk all about homecoming and maybe some music flood, and who knows what we'll talk about with our chamber executive director, Donna Garrett, and we even got another Eddie here. Yeah, okay. Good. All right, we'll be right back. We'll do that right after this.